Hey garden friends, today I am out on my back deck and we are going to prepare our plants for going back indoors. These are my house plants and yeah, they need a little bit of TLC before we take them inside. And I'm going to share with you what I do. There's a lot of different methods, but this is what I personally do and have had success with. So, and you know me, I'm lazy. Let's get rolling on it. So I have my holiday cactus. These are Thanksgiving cactus. I think this one over here has Thanksgiving and a Christmas cactus in it. There are two different types. Now I have a blog post on it that you can look up and see exactly what the differences are. Pretty much the Thanksgiving cactus blooms in November, the Christmas cactus blooms in December, and the leaf shapes are a little bit different. But what I wanted to share with you is after they have spent the summer outdoors, and this time of year, this is October 1st or right around it, what I do, because the nighttime temperatures are getting down into the 40s now, and they need to go inside. They don't like it that chilly out here, not even the sweet potato vines. They don't like that either. So we need to treat them. Now, taking them indoors, it's a totally different environment. A lot of people will advise you to do, put them in the shade, shadier spot. Well, they've been in the shade out here, but to do it in increments. And I'm too lazy. I don't have time for that. I'm not going to reintroduce them to the indoors slowly. They're going in once I treat them for pests, dust, whatever. So you can take a rag. This is an old t-shirt, and you can wipe them off to get them dust free. I have a ton of these. If I did that, it would take me all day. I don't have time for that. So I usually put them out in an area in the garden where it's flat. I take the spray nozzle on my hose and I just give them all a good spray. Now, if you can't do that, if it's too cold to do that already, then I put them in the shower and I turn the shower on cold and I let it wash them all down. Yeah, pretty lazy, right? And so that really washes away a lot of stuff on, like the holiday cactus. Now to get the underneath of the leaves, that could be a little bit more trickier. That's where this handheld hose where you can go underneath all of it, spray it all down, works for me. But then I go ahead and I will spray them. I have this little spray bottle, which I've mixed up some of this. This comes with a hose attachment to spray in your garden. Now this is called Systemica Insect Killer. It's by Sierra, oh my glasses, one moment. Sierra Natural Science. It's made from rosemary and clove oils. It's organic. It smells nice. And it works. It really works. Last year, I had a plant in my house. I brought it home from a store, and it just started looking sickly, and I didn't understand what was going on. I brought it outside and took a good look at it, and it had scale all over it. Oh, I was just so upset. I sprayed it down liberally with this, and by the next day, they were gone. There was no, I was so shocked because this thing was covered. And I was super impressed. And yeah, it didn't do any harm to the plants. Also, it can be used as a soil drench. It will kill off the insects in the soil. Now, there's an alternative. Some people will have you put a little bit of soapy water in a bucket, and then you submerge the plant. So the soapy water goes through the soil and it kills off any insects. I've never done that, so I don't know how well it works. They swear by it, so I trust that they do that. I just have so many that it would be a long time me doing that. And yeah, like I said, I'm lazy. So some of my geraniums get to go indoors and be on the windowsill too, so they get this treatment. Now another thing that I look for like this, I want to keep it in a smaller container. I don't want it in a large container because this fits on my windowsill and it just makes it easier to overwinter. Now I have a video, 4 ways to overwinter geraniums. I'm going to do another one coming up as soon as it's cold enough for me to start getting them ready. In fact, I have some probably this next week. I'll go ahead and do the ones that are out in the garden, and I'll show you another method that isn't part of that 4 ways, or it's kind of related to some of them. But yeah, it's going to be, everybody swears by it. I've tried something similar. It didn't work as well as me having the plants indoors, but probably nothing. It probably takes them just a little while to recover from going dormant in a dry state. So there's that. So yeah, that is basically the bug spray I use on all of the plants before I bring them in. I spray it down really, really well. I mean, I guess I could spray this one. Put it on a real misty spray, and you spray them thoroughly. And yeah, you let it dry. You can put it into the soil. Smells like rosemary. And yeah, it's a systemic, so the bugs don't want to eat on the plant. Even if something should hatch in the soil, they just die. Also, fungus gnats can be a problem indoors, especially any potting soil if it's moist, can be infested with fungus gnat eggs. I have a video on how I kill fungus gnats. Now, some people use neem oil. That works. A neem oil drench in the soil. I just don't like that scent in my house. It does dissipate after a while. So if you had a space that you could do that in and let them sit until the odor goes away, that works really well. It also works on the leaves. So a neem oil works as well for that. Now also, none of my houseplants really need potting up, but it would be a good time for you to look at them and see if they need to be potted up. And any new potting soil in a bag, you want to check or treat for fungus gnats. Now I also, in my home inside, I have these sticky yellow traps that I put all in the plants, and that helps to help whatever doesn't die. If they hatch and they'll fly up, they'll fly onto those traps. And even though I use the soil drenches, even though I use all the sprays, sometimes I will get a fungus gnat hatch. Last year I had very little. The year before it was horrible. And I used a product that had peat moss in it. Peat moss and coconut coir both hold so much moisture. They seem to be a real breeding ground for fungus gnats. So I try to steer away from products that contain either of those for my indoor plants. That's just personal choice. Others may have had a different experience. Another treatment I've read about and people swear by, though I didn't seem to see the same results as they did, was a peroxide drench where you let the it's a 4 to 1. 4 parts peroxide or 3 parts 3 parts water, 1 part peroxide. So yeah, and then you just pour it where it runs through the soil, and that is supposed to kill any fungus gnats or larvae or whatever in the soil. Like I said, I didn't seem to have as much results with that as I did. Another one that I've used is the mosquito bits that I use in my pond and sitting water. I will put like a 1/4 cup into a gallon of water. I'll let it sit for 48 hours. And the BT gets into the water, and then I would water the plants thoroughly with that. And that has helped with fungus gnat problems. So there are all of those. Now, spider mites, I really have to keep watch on. For some reason, they are so insidious. No matter how much I treat my plants before bringing them in, I will somehow get spider mites, especially on my sweet potato vines. And what other plants seem to be really susceptible to them, or really get them so easily? I can't remember. So you have to be really careful with that. The sweet potato vines, I would bring outside. I would spray thoroughly with this or a neem oil spray, organic, and let it dry and then take them back in. And it seems I can stay on top of them by doing that. Yeah, I don't do really anything else than that. So I try to make it as easy as possible. I do recommend like spraying them really down with the hose, with the spray nozzle. to get the dust off. That really helps. You can individually wipe if you don't have that many plants. With the sweet potato vines, I would make sure I got underneath and all of that. Yeah, and you know, spider mites can be on like the containers, or when you bring home, you know, new things from the store, you should ideally keep them quarantined until you see how they're going to do and away from your other plants. I'll confess, I don't always do that. Like I said, I'm so lazy with the things that I do. And that could be why sometimes I have a spider mite problem in the winter. But I treat it, get rid of it, and it's all good. Now, another thing I have done, especially when I get the bulk compost that I make my potting soil with, it sits outside. It gets moist. Fungus gnats are going to lay in that medium. So whenever I'm going to use it as a potting soil or a potting mix, I make sure I sterilize it. I either pour boiling water through the amount that I'm going to use. I put it in a sieve, the medium compost, and then I pour boiling water through it, or I will pasteurize it in the microwave, put it in a plastic baggie, a Ziploc bag. It's moist, and I'll leave just a tiny bit of the zipper open, and I will cook it in the microwave for so long. It's part of my fungus gnats, I think, post. I keep getting these spam calls. Anyway, so yeah, I will cook it and pasteurize it that way. It kills any of the fungus gnats or eggs in that medium at that time. Now that, if you're doing a whole bunch, that can be very tedious and hard to do. So pouring through the liquid insecticide or whatever works. There's also a chemical systemic that you could use. It's in a granular form, and you could put it in. I choose not to because it's a neonicticide, and when you go ahead and bring them back outside, it takes 3 months before that is no longer in the leaves, which it can harm beneficials. So I try to steer away from that one. So there we go. How to take your plants back indoors. Now, if you need to pot them back up, do so. But one thing note about doing that with your holiday cactus is probably not advised, because you could shock it into not setting buds, or when they do bud, they'll drop off very easily. Now, the temperature change and the humidity change with indoors from outdoors can also affect, once these have put on buds. It can make them fall off, what have you. So that's, a lot of people say, oh, my buds all fell off my plant. And a lot of times it has to do with shifts in temperature and humidity going from outdoors to indoors. But normally at this time, see, mine haven't even put on any buds, but they have been primed to do so because they've been outside. They've had the shortness of the days that triggers it, as well as the temperatures have been cooling down. So now's the time to take them in, especially as they really don't like getting down into the 40-degree temperatures. So, and I've remembered that neither do the sweet potato vines. So all of those go in. So take a day, wash everything down, treat it. This seems to work very well. Also the neem oil combo, you can mix them together in this, and then you have the double whammy, and it'll take care of your bugs. So be proactive, meaning take steps to prevent a huge infestation. And if you do get an infestation, try to treat it right away. And keep a close eye on your plants when you first take them in, and make sure, because sometimes the wonderful conditions in your home will induce the bugs to hatch if there are eggs in there, etc. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you to know what to do to be able to take your plants back inside. And if you have the patience for it, do it in increments. But like, what I mean by that, just so I can be clear, is during the nighttime, like tonight, if it's going to dip into the 40s, I would take all my plants inside, maybe put them on my dining room table, which is right inside the sliding glass doors. And then during the day, bring them back out. And then the next day, do the night that's going to drop. Do the same thing. Take them in, but then wait to bring them back out. So they're spending a little bit more time indoors. So you're slowly acclimating them to the indoor conditions. But like I said, I'm too lazy. So I've always had success and no problems. I don't remember ever seeing my plants go into stress. So, alrighty. So there you have it. Enjoy your houseplants and taking them indoors. I hope your holiday cactus will bloom for you. This is my trick of getting them to bloom prolifically, is to bring them out in the summer and not take them back in till October 1st or thereabouts. Now, if you get cold temperatures sooner, you would have to take them in sooner. A lot of people will put them in a closet for the dark time or take them in and out. Like I said, lazy. And the one size fits all isn't for everybody. But so that being said, it's top heavy. I wish you houseplant success and getting them all ready, cozied up for fall. And if you haven't watched yet, go back and watch my video on how I set this whole fall scene up for under $7. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that one. All right. It's chilly out here and windy. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.